Hello, good morning, happy Tuesday, and welcome to the new Tuesday edition of Deep Dive with me, Tim. Let me shuffle a few more of these windows around real fast, and then we'll actually get the show on the road. I do not have the Twitch window, so heads up for anyone who happens to be watching on Twitch. I don't have the chat for that one pulled up. I have YouTube and Discord chat, which are the same two that are on the screen below me here. But I cannot see Twitch. So if you want to interact, ask questions, make comments, get my attention, YouTube or Discord are the two places to do that instead of Twitch. The same two chats that we can see here on the stream. Speaking of the stream, welcome first of all to the first of the Tuesday editions of Deep Dive with me, Tim. If you are new and don't know, my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord, and this is now a weekly live stream that I'm starting up here on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 8 a.m. No, 10 a.m. I did that all wrong, I think. 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific Time, which is about what time it is right now. And I will be here each week giving you a look at what I am working on. If you are brand new and haven't caught any of my streams or any of the other deep dives before and you don't know, this whole sort of stream is centered around CircuitPython. CircuitPython is a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. There are a bunch of pictures of them here. The way it works typically when you use CircuitPython with these devices is you will plug it into your computer with a USB cable. It's going to show up like a thumb drive. You can edit a Python code file on that thumb drive, and then when you save it, it will execute the Python code that you save into that file. Let's see, I'll pull up the Fruit Jam because this is actually the one that I have hooked up today. So this will be the main device we're using today. Microcontrollers come in all different shapes and sizes. Like there's loads of different pictures of them here on the downloads page. Some of them are completely bare bones, like Raspberry Pi Picos, where it basically has only what it needs to be a microcontroller. It doesn't really have anything extra built in, but it has loads of I/O pins, which you can hook up whatever you want to. Others of these microcontroller devices are sort of more purpose-built. They have loads of peripherals that are already built in, such as the Fruit Jam little mini computer type device here. It has a HDMI-shaped plug that outputs DVI signal, SD card, Wi-Fi chip. It's got two USB ports with a USB hub internally on there. It's got still a fair amount of I/O pins, a couple of built-in buttons, a DAC so that you can run audio, all sorts of fun stuff on this little device. Little strand of NeoPixels over there. So with CircuitPython, we can write Python code to interface with all this other hardware that is connected to the microcontroller. CircuitPython is an open source project. You can find it on GitHub, Adafruit, CircuitPython. Anyone is allowed to use CircuitPython. Anyone is allowed to port CircuitPython to their own hardware. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be an Adafruit device. There are, in fact, lots and lots of non-Adafruit hardware that run CircuitPython, but Adafruit is the company that makes CircuitPython possible by paying a team of us who work on it, including myself. And if you would like to help them and by proxy CircuitPython and all of the other open source work that they fund, one of the easiest ways to do it is purchase hardware from them, which you can do at their website, adafruit.com, which brings me to my next bit of housekeeping. As you can see here, keyboard sale week. I will also, if I can find the thing, pop over to a bigger one just so we can be absolutely sure it is keyboard sale week. So for those of you that don't know, starting last week and going until sometime in the future, actually I don't know when the last one of these is going to be, But each week there is a new product category on the Adafruit site where there are some deep discounts on that category. So this week it's keyboard stuff. There are all sorts of little sort of single button keyboards, key caps, keyboard accessories, the little kitty keycaps with the rubber toes, which are super neat. All kinds of stuff. If you would like to get yourself some keyboard peripherals, they are now deeply discounted over at adafruit.com. And then be sure to check back each week. There will be new sales starting up at the beginning of the week. What is up, Liz? Hope you are doing well this morning. Let's see. Okay. This, we have CircuitPython. I'm actually going to leave this one because I do want to go find something in here. Was this crash? This was a different one, actually. Okay, so this is a little bit possibly related to what I'll be looking into, but I wasn't sure if it was the same crash or not. Okay, so diving into where I am at, what I am working on, which is kind of what I intend for this stream to be, is a little 1 hour window into what I am working on. And right now, one of the main things is anti-aliased fonts for CircuitPython. So we got support merged into bitmap font and display text. However, did display text actually, maybe that one, so the functionality is merged in, but I think maybe what is this page? Interesting. But I think this one is not, but it was approved, so we could merge it, except for we are not logged in this browser. It's sort of a shame, so I guess we will do that real fast maybe. This. Okay, I don't know why we landed on this page, but so Scott did approve this one. We can merge this. And so the last thing I was going to say is the functionality was merged in. The example is now merged in as well. Just did that, which is this example that shows, I think, very clearly the sort of steps of bit depth. So you can see at 1 bits per pixel, which is what we had before. This was the only thing we used to support. It's only black and white, right? 1 bit's either on or off. 2 bits, we have 4 different colors. So there's black, white, and then there's sort of a light gray and a dark gray. Once you get up to 4 bits, there's 16 different colors. And so there's, white, black, and then 14 shades of gray in between. And at 8-bit, there's 256 total colors. So white, black, and then, 254 possible colors in between. I don't know that it actually uses all of them. I suspect not. And so in this case, I kind of think, like, to my eye, the 4-bit one looks basically the same, if not even possibly a little better than the 8-bit one. And the font size is like half because it's half as much data per pixel being stored. So in my mind, the 4-bit is kind of the sweet spot, at least for this particular font. That's probably the place where I will start when I am looking for fonts to use with anti-aliasing. I am also going to go ahead and make a release here. This release is not super important because the only thing that changed was the example. But it'll be good to get that example in. Aliasing example. Because you can install examples through Circup, and also for people who download the bundles as a zip. This will make sure the example is included in those downloads. Okay. So where I am at is looking into the core lvfontio stuff. So I did a quick update on my stream on Saturday. So if you want the sort of recap, you can go back and catch the first sort of couple of minutes of my stream from Saturday over on my channel. But basically, the very, very super quick version of it is it can work in the core. We can have anti-alias fonts in the core, but there's something weird going on with the height. I'm not sure if the fonts are weird, or if the code in the core is weird, or if perhaps both are weird in a way that works together to make it so that some of the pixels get clipped off depending on what font you use. So that's sort of one issue. Is right now you can use it, but some of the pixels tend to get clipped off on all the fonts that I've tried. Perhaps there are some where they don't. And then two, there's not exactly an anti-aliased version of the font we use. So if you want to see the anti-aliasing actually work, you kind of need to either use a whole different font or use a bigger version of the font we use. Both of which come with their own sort of troubles. So if you use a totally different font, we do seem to have this issue in the core where some fonts cause a hard crash. This is actually what I want to look into a little bit today, so that's what we're going to dig into here in a minute. And if you use a bigger version of the same font that's in FruitJam OS, which is called Unifont, if you use a bigger version of that, we use 16 pixels by default in FruitJam OS, which I kind of consider the default for CircuitPython, or for the FruitJam at least. If you go bigger than 16, you can go up to 20, and then you can get anti-aliased stuff, and it does render once you put a custom palette onto it. Interesting. So this reload thing says reload, but does not actually reload. It's kind of cool. The old Control F5 there. Yeah. Okay. And so partially I'm trying to look into the heights. I'm trying to figure out like how the height measurement works and whether there is an issue with the core code or not. And then partially I'm trying to debug, I think, this hard crash here. And they're both sort of interrelated because the heights really affect other fonts more than they do the built-in current default one. So when we're switching to other fonts, I'm trying to look into the heights that they're using. And also when we're switching to other fonts, it is sometimes causing this hard crash. And in fact, there's also a slightly different one that I noticed just a bit ago as well. So they're kind of interrelated, and that's what we're digging into. I think one thing I want to do is go to CLion for CircuitPython. One thing I want to do is get my build. I have a build here that's printing I did. I want to get this build back on that's doing some printing of extra information, but this is only printing characters less than 94. Yeah, I think what we really want is to go back to this one where it's printing all characters, but I will keep the extra thing there, so really we can just get rid of this. So this is making it so that when the font loads, it will print out a bunch of details about the characters. The character ID, the actual character that it is, and then the value that it found for decent. And we have ascent. We should just print that also, but I'm not sure we do. How did we get decent? Decent is here. It came from negative bbox y. we do have a box height. One would think is likely to be the ascent. Print that as well. And another thing I'm gonna do is actually enable debug in this build. That will work, because in order to debug the hard crash, I'm gonna try to hook up a Raspberry Pi debug probe. Although I don't know how far into that we'll get, but we'll see. Another thing I would like to test is I suspect that at the very least the the Hindi version of FruitJam OS, I kind of suspect it's not gonna work. I kind of suspect that it hard crashes, and I'm curious. I want to verify that and then also try to check if any of the other ones do. Oh. I meant to do that. I did, but I meant to rename it. Weird that this did not print anything in between. Okay. We have a build with two things: extra printing when the on-disk font gets loaded, and also with the debug symbols, so that if we make it to the debug probe, we will be able to get low-level trace specs into the C code. Okay. Yeah, this will take a minute. Keeps ticking. I don't know if it's printing the ASCII bell. I don't know if there's multiple like ASCII bell style tick sounds. So I'm trying to keep an eye here, and I have seen a couple 17s go by. Is actually the main thing that I'm looking for is ones that have a height bigger than 16. And in fact, we probably could have made this easier on ourselves if we... I don't want to keep that. Formatting. It's weird in this one. This will be faster. Okay, I was going to say. Usually the Raspberry Pi build's fairly quick. I think probably because I added debug 1, it took a bunch of extra time that time. This should also run a bit faster because it won't print nearly as much. Don't need the boot animation. I should do that maybe, but. Oh, can't scroll up in there. Okay. There totally are some of these that are 17. And they all pretty much also have a descent of 4 or 3. Some of them look like normal characters, right? Like, so the question is, do these get cut off? So if this actually has a high, so the way the font's rendered, and this all pertains to the serial. So this view here, the way this font is rendered, each of these glyphs, as far as I understand it, right now, each of these glyphs has 8 by 16 pixels. So if there's a glyph that's 17 pixels tall, it means that 1 pixel must be getting cut. But all of these, you notice all of these are big CID numbers, over 1,000, which means they're out of the range of ASCII. These are not just standard A, B, C, D regular stuff. They're like further up there, either different languages or special characters. I mean, I know some of them look pretty normal, but the idea is that they are not sort of standard, normal, regular, everyday ASCII. Like you notice we have this thing that looks like an asterisk, but we don't have the ASCII asterisk that would be up here somewhere because it's, you know, CID whatever, right? It's like 60 or 90 or less than 100 somewhere, because like all of ASCII is 128 or less. Or the W, similar thing. So let's do the big L, I guess. This is 1580. So if we print that, does it show or? Doesn't print anything. And this does not look like an L here either. Well, but this might throw it. Might throw it off, actually. I think. Yeah, so the thing is, this is just looping from 0, but it's actually offset by 20. I think we would need to do this. We don't have a CID though, obviously, so that would be the number we want. Doesn't print anything. Print something here. Neither of those two things look like the L that got printed from C code though, which is interesting. Yeah, I think these are not lining up right. Hmm. Did I, maybe I, oh, you know, CID. You know, are these supposed to be hex? They're supposed to be X. This? Nothing. Do not. L. Another one that's still not an L. I do think because these show... Oh, this one even shows 18. I do think because these show 17, if we could figure out how to get it to print one of them, I feel like it should have a pixel missing. I suspect that these just aren't getting printed properly, truthfully, because all I was doing here was CID plus hex 20 converted to a character by the string conversion in C. My guess is that it doesn't come out to the same character, basically, as what it is in reality. Because when we're printing it, we are getting these other ones, which definitely look different. But more importantly, like, we're getting none here, which makes it basically impossible to tell if it's clipped or not. Trying to think if I can come up with any better way to map them together, and I don't think I can off the top of my head here. Okay, so what I am going to try next, actually, is confirm the FruitJam OS thing. So to do that, I want to start fresh with a clean build to make sure that nothing I have now is influencing it. And the easiest way to do that is just wipe the FruitJam, and I did already save a backup, I think, right? 3. I put a space in the name. It's further. Definite. Okay, because this is actually a fairly bad problem if this hopefully doesn't work on the other fonts, or at least some of the other fonts, which I suspect at this point that it doesn't. One thing I noticed is this does say terminal hi.lvfont bin, but I think that size, I believe the core defaults, like, I don't think the core is going to use that file. I'm not sure though. I think the core looks for specifically terminal font, just terminal.lvfontio, or lvfontben rather. I don't think it will find the one with hi in the name. That's in display. A default font path. And that does not do any kind of checking for underscores here. So that's one thing, is we probably should be rendering FruitJam OS like all the language, either all the languages should render the font with the same name, which is probably the easiest thing, or here, this needs to change the logic to be like starts with terminal, and then it would find like terminal hi and terminal es and all the other possible things. All right, so this is still copying. And I do believe like the font should be the only difference between the different builds of FruitJam OS. So I've wiped my FruitJam. I'm putting FruitJam OS on it now with Hindi font. But I believe afterwards we can easily just replace the font file and go down the list and try different ones. I don't think we need to re-wipe it every time and do all of this stuff. Okay. Oh, okay. So that font is in CodePy? The launch. Really? For the titles of the apps, probably. Is not refreshed. Okay, so that's hard-coded in FruitJam OS also. That's hard-coded in the core and in FruitJam OS. All right, so we need to... yeah, so like while we're here, let's do this. FruitJam OS. Oh, this is a search. Okay, so non-English fonts don't use default font name. Both the core and FruitJam OS code expect the default font to be found at /font/terminal lvfont bin, but for non, and in the English build it is though, right? Or I've never had to change it before. In the English build it is. So I think we just need to alter the builds to always use the same name. We should maybe also put like a file or something that says what language it is. It is rough to have all of them use the same name because then you can't tell which one you have, but not so bad, I don't know. This preview is stuck for some reason. But for non-English builds, it gets a different name. The language is a prefix like terminal hi. Then the AOS or find. All right, so we should fix that. But we can still keep testing now because I can usually just go change the name of the font file. Put outside of here. LV font, and then so we can run FruitJam OS, and I suspect that should work. All right, so it says it's not there yet. I think that, like, I changed it here, and I think it actually takes a while to write that change back to CircuitPython. Like, my OS thinks that the writing of that file is done, but I suspect not actually done. CircuitPython is still working on it. And if we just retry after another few seconds, a few more times, it will eventually just work. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So this works, and it's using that font to render all of these labels here. But if I just press the reset button, which is going to make it so that it tries to use that font for the system, is what it should be doing here. Thought it was going to crash, but it didn't. So these are clipped. IDE is frozen. This is one of the things Scott doesn't like about the bigger IDEs like this, which I do agree with, but I put up with it because I like a load of other stuff about the IDE. Well, so we actually have another slight. So, yeah, the confused look on my face is because why did it not crash? I was totally expecting that to crash. And I think the answer is that I don't have stock CircuitPython actually, because we made this build here. This build has this extra printing in it, which is not actually from that line. From this line back here, it has this extra printing in it. Which, did we see any of that stuff get printed? Did not see any of that stuff get printed. That would be when the display gets created. I could force the display to get recreated and see if we see it then. Likely. It's one word? It's 2 words. The libraries cannot do up there. So the wrong terminal for up. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Boatload of value errors. Also very interesting here, this is just printing value error empty, and here it's printing value error tile index out, presumably of bounds. So that's odd, that those are 2 different things. It's also going to take it a while. So it looks like it's basically failing for... Also, I think this goes up to like 9,000 at least. And I'm assuming that these are failing... I'm assuming that the value errors raised from the print statement for this. Could be an incorrect assumption, but that's what I'm thinking. In any case, I can't break it, so I can't like stop it from going. But the thing is though, this code has different logic. This code already has a change in it that Not the branch I'm on. Well, okay. I don't know if I've committed it or what. Still just rolling. So my theory is that the other change to this code on disk font might be preventing the hard crash. I'm also starting to wonder if this is actually just infinite. Like maybe it's trying to print a value error. In fact, maybe the fact that it's stopping here, like maybe it's trying to print the F and it's not working, and that's causing another value error, which causes another, which causes another, right? Maybe something like that's going on. Sure if it's from this or not. Let's find that out real fast. But the next thing I want to do, I guess, is go back to a stock build of CircuitPython so that we can try to see if it hard crashes. Yeah. Oh, it didn't. Okay. Well, we're not back to the stock build anyhow, though. We are still on this custom build, which does basically measure the height differently. Like here, I don't know if you remember from a few minutes ago, but the height, the gap between these two lines is like massive compared to how it is by default, and how it was a few minutes ago before I put this build on. But we should technically, it's also cut off on the top, it looks like, but is that a VLC problem, or is that actually, that looks, it's cut off at the top. I don't know. I'm also not sure what's up with this. This is, I don't know what this is. This might, is it a crossed out, is it a Bluetooth thing? It shows web or a web workflow or something? So that's getting messed up here for one thing, but I don't think that's really related. Yeah, see, deleting doesn't work right, looks like to me. Deleting doesn't work right. Typing is getting up sometimes too. Still not printing the actual character either, though. It's not printing here either. The wrong number? Wrong number. So many copies of this in the backstack. And 57961. I don't get why those don't print either. Like, we should, on the Hindi font at this point, I believe those are Hindi characters based on a thing I found online. They also didn't, well, but I turned the print off just now. Only getting clipped. This time they're getting clipped at the top though, which is interesting. But that is also just the status bar. That could just be the status bar not accounting for the size correctly, actually. So maybe we don't chase that too long. This is weird. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm not going to chase that right now. I think we want to get back to basically a more or less stock build. And what I'm going to do is actually, I am going to commit changes to this. Size considering yes. If I want a debug build of main. And since it seems like that's going to actually take a minute, while it's going, I am going to try into alpha 1. So for a split second, so this is a pipe, maybe, is what that's supposed to be. Got messed up in the other one. For a split second, it seemed like nothing was cut off, but now it looks like the snake emoji is. It's odd. The bottoms are not cut off, though, because like the main thing I was finding was this pixel down here being clipped. But this is still super bizarre because still not crashing, and at this point it's loading this font, which is the Hindi font. I swear that just before the stream I had tried this and it hard crashed like consistently. And I mean, this is the same file. The same file. It's over. So I'm gonna do settings. Actually, it's empty, is it? Empty. Still gonna scooch over here though and do one thing. All right, so this should set the custom font now to hi.lvfontbin. Would take effect whenever the display gets created. I'm just gonna reset button. Still running fine. So yeah, this pipe gets an extra thing for some reason. It does look like the top of the snake is still cut. Bottom pixel is still not cut. And it's the Hindi font, but oh. Hmm. But look right. It's a little tough to tell. So yeah, I'm totally not sure. Like this is getting all funky when I arrow around. Oop. Okay, we have found lots of the weird now. Yeah, like I have no idea what's going on here. Well, I guess it's because I put the A and then I tried to backspace. But even the rendering is not correct. Like my understanding is this character I think should make like an underline sort of thing effectively. Is this not working anymore? So 956 and 957 are these two little cuppy underscore things. My apologies to anyone who understands this language if you're watching. I do not necessarily, so I'm going with the best that I can. And those are, I think, are supposed to be under. What I gather, those are supposed to go under the previous character. So like this one went under the K, I believe is correct. But here it got a little wild. It went just kind of outside. It's consistent at least though. And the reason why I think it's supposed to be under is back to here and get this code. I don't know why I pasted it there. Okay, so this is printing a K and a character 957, and it's using the Hindi font, but it is using bitmap font and display text instead of terminal. File not found, line 3. Also trying to this, which we don't want. I just commented out and oh, that is the right file. Okay. Also printing these things, which don't matter so much, but right, so here we get the underline sort of under the K. Still maybe not looking perfectly actually correct, I'm not sure, but it is under the K, decidedly. This is like a representation of the actual bitmap. You can see the ones are the pixels, so the K is like all these ones coming down here, this line going out here, coming down, and then the underline down here. Now, I don't know why it kind of looks like it gets cut off, but not sure if that's just how it is or what. But it does go under the K. Whereas here in the terminal, it absolutely does not. Surely it would make no difference if we put the text in a string. Where's that string? Yeah. This is going to be all messed up now because of the backspace. Not backspace, I guess. Okay, and that one prints something. It does look different than what's here. I don't know if it's correct or not. The 961, which is what I printed, right? 961 should be this thing. Buckalick. Li? Really does not look like that at all, right? It kind of looks, it's got a way different loopy thing here. Does this look like any of the nearby ones, or? Not to my eye. The one thing we should check is the offset by 20? And offset by hex 20 probably? So 0x961 plus 0x20 x 981. This one only doesn't look like that. So the other way would be 941. And it also definitely doesn't look that. Okay, so we're not printing a thing that's like off by 20. Yeah, I don't know how to figure out, I guess, which one it's printing. There is this page, which theoretically should work also, but the problem is I don't know how to read this. Like, I would think that, so I don't know how to read this basically. This is like a big two-dimensional grid of 00 hex to FF hex in both directions. And I know that, so 09, let's say 61 is what I tried to print, 0961. So is that would be this, I guess. You have to, zero 0961. So this symbol right here, obviously it's very small, but it's right here where my mouse is moving. It's down from 6.1 and it's the one right above this dark one. This sort of looks like a heart with this little E on it, right? Which is the same. Which is the same as what this looks like. Basically this heart with this little E on it, right? Yeah, so in this font, which is supposed to be the font we're using, I've lost it now, but wherever it's at right here, this character does look like it should be correct. But in reality, when we print it, we end up with this. Could that be the left half of it? Plausibly? Keep losing it. It's right here. It really could not, right? Because if it was the left half, there would be nothing on the bottom. And it has this overbar thing, so it would basically have to be one of the ones with the overbar thing. Okay. Well, we have made it to time, so I think I will stop for now. But this gives you an idea of where my investigations are headed, is like trying to wrap my head around what we have today. Does it work as expected? And what do we need to do to the height in order to get custom fonts to not get clipped? Like, that's the high level goal I'm trying to work towards, is how do we get custom fonts to not get clipped? And along the way, troubleshooting that, I'm gonna have to understand how this works, basically. So why do we get, where did this glyph come from? Why does it not match 0961 in the font that we're supposedly using? And if we assume that this page is correct, which I did just find on the internet, it could be wrong, but it seems likely that it's correct. If this page is correct and this agrees with what this glyph looks like, even though it's gone now, I don't know where it's at, it's over there somewhere, but they look basically the same. So if those two things match, but this is printing different, I think somehow our fonts are not getting treated correctly. I don't have my brain fully wrapped around how just yet, because I'm still unclear on where this font came from. I was expecting it to just be like offset by 20 hex, but it wasn't, so I don't know where it came from. Or if it didn't actually come from anywhere, if it is actually like, maybe it's only half of a character. Maybe I'm not going to find it in here because we're looking at full characters. Or maybe it is like got something went wrong with the bitmap data in it. So maybe it's trying to draw the correct character. This one, maybe it's trying to draw this, but the way it's doing the pixels breaks or something. I don't know. But that is where I will look into next. To wrap it up, let's say a few things. First of all, remember that keyboard sale is going on right now. If you want to get yourself keycaps and other keyboard accessories, adafruit.com. You can just click the keyboard link there at the top here, or the main keyboard thing here, or if you are a URL typer, it is adafruit.com/category/1029. Check back next week for the next category of sales stuff. And then the other thing I will mention is if you are interested in some good deals on Adafruit stuff, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, I haven't actually checked with JP, so I don't know if maybe he's traveling this week. And if so, I apologize, but I believe later today, I think it's 3 p.m. my time, so 4 p.m. Eastern, about, 5 hours from right now? No. 4 hours from right now. Yeah, 4 hours from right now. I think is JP's product picked, so that stream will be on the same channel here on the Adafruit channel. As long as he's not out of town for vacation or anything like that, then that should be coming up later today, where you can also get a chance for a great deal on some kind of Adafruit product. So check that out later today. Check out the keyboard sale. Check back next week for whatever's on sale then. And then the last bit of housekeeping is on Friday, I will be filling in on Deep Dive for Scott, so I'll be back Friday here on the Adafruit channel. That is at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Pacific. Scott's out on Friday, so I'm filling in. And then I do usually stream on my own channel on Saturdays, but I'm taking this Saturday off. So I will not be around on Saturday. I'll be around on Friday for Deep Dive. I will be around next Tuesday in this time slot, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. And then we will go from there. So thank you to everyone who watched. I do hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and week. I will catch you next time on Friday, filling in on Deep Dive. Again, that's 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Pacific here on the Adafruit channel. And tune in later today for JP product pick. So that is all for now. So long and farewell.